Hello and welcome, fellow digital soldiers, to True Reporting. It is the 26th of July, and on today's podcast, we'll be focusing on Disney. Our favorite Anon 17 came out yesterday with a lot of drops on Disney, and I have articles talking about missing children. We have the former vice president of Disney being arrested, so on and so forth. And this even all ties into Epstein Island too. So we're starting to pick up even more speed, right, with all of this Epstein nonsense and now with Disney. But before we get into this podcast today, my friends, would you please welcome my new sponsor, Noble Gold. Hey there, fellow digital soldiers. Did you know that every year the U.S. Mint releases new coins into its, in quote, America the Beautiful 5-ounce coin series? This has been running since 2010, and they cover the kind of things that make America great, like our national parks and landmarks. Check out this beauty and the size of this coin. I can promise you it's the size of a tennis ball. It's beautiful. This year, the Mint has chosen to celebrate Lowell and the fight of the Mill Girls. War in the Pacific National Historical Park, War in the Pacific, the San Antonio Missions, and the River of No Return, the Salmon Valley Wilderness Park. These slices of American history and heritage are difficult to get a hold of, and they sell out quick. Incredibly, Noble Gold has managed to secure some, and as an Independence Day special, they are doing a combo of their best-selling Trump 2020 Freedom 1-ounce silver coin with one of the America the Beautiful coins at a discount of $25 for the two during July or until they sell out of these coins. This is a very generous offer, guys, and unbeatable value for such special and rare coins. Go to Trump2020.com and use the code TRUreporting25 for 25% off to secure yours today. Thanks, guys. Before we get into today's podcast, I wanted to say it's good to be back. I took about a 3-day break from this. Sometimes it's well-deserved, and sometimes you just got to reset, for lack of a better term. So let's go ahead and hop into this, guys. This is True Reporting. So from The Sharp Edge, please follow them on Twitter at TheSharpEdge1. This is disturbing. Q-Link Disney Cruise Line to the underground entrances of Epstein Island, obviously implying child trafficking from the cruise line to the assumed dungeons within the island. And then we can see here, these are where these little doors, right? This is so disturbing. This is from drone footage from Rusty Shackelford. Guys, killing it. Please follow him on YouTube. I think it's just Rusty Shackelford. Just look that up on YouTube, and I'm sure it'll come right up. Just his drone footage is amazing, to say the least. So yeah, we see the little trapdoors here, and where is this going to? It looks like it goes right into the side of this hill. It's not a box. There's multiple little doors because this one's different than this one, differently shaped. What is this, right? And Q's posting on it, and it seems as though that it looks like it could just be a door for someone to go into, a little child to be taken into, maybe kept in, captured, right? Imprisoned. The first boom is revealed. Did you catch it? The last will be magical kingdoms. And then we see it could be Disney. Actually, it is Disney, because this is going to tie all the way back into Epstein. It already has, to be honest. And once people, you know how popular Disney is. Disney is packed with normies. They love going there. I will never go there. I went there when I was a little kid, like in '89. I went. Haven't been back. A little too much going on for me. But a lot of people go there. Some people go there. They go there every year. It's like their yearly family getaway, right? They want to go to Disney, and it's traditional, right? Once they get wind of this, it's all downhill for Disney. It's all downhill for anyone incorporated with Disney, Epstein. Guys, I mean, this is it, okay? This is the Great Awakening. We are living it right here, right now. From Washington, CNN, the federal government has ordered the death penalty to be reinstated For the first time in nearly 2 decades, as Attorney General William Barr directed the Bureau of Prisons to schedule the execution of 5 inmates after adopting and updated execution protocol. After 16 years without an execution, Barr has directed the head of the Bureau of Prisons to execute the 5 death row inmates convicted of murdering and, in some cases, torturing and raping the most vulnerable in our society. Guess who those are? The children and the elderly. Who is taking these children? Who's dealing with the children? Who's spirit cooking? Who's trafficking these quote unquote children? Well, in due time, these people won't exist anymore because of the death penalty. Because I believe that they are linking these two things together. They're bringing back the death penalty because of what is about to be released. So, in December and January, according to a statement from the Department of Justice. So, these guys, these 5 inmates, looks like they're going to get fried. I don't know what kind of death penalty. Is it lethal injection, firing squad, who knows, hanging? I don't know. But, all of this will not be taking place, I don't think, on U.S., on the 50 states. I believe this will take place at Guantanamo behind closed doors, right? They're going to take care of these people and make sure they never come back into our existence. Mark Taylor. Now that Q has confirmed Disney Cruise Lines at Epstein Island, I would encourage the Anons to dig on Castaway Cay. Tom Hanks filmed Splash there. It is also an old airstrip that the drug runners used to use. No coincidences. So from an Anon, this is from yesterday. It said, Captain Nautica's snorkeling expedition on Little St. James Island. Activity type, splashtacular and family adventure and nature adventures. Activity level, moderate. Duration, about 4 hours. Adult price, $75, ages 10 and up. Child price, $60, ages 8 to 9, ages 8 and up. Be whisked away aboard Captain RIB powerboat to a pair of sun-soaked snorkeling sites and prepare for an adventure like no other. A journey to a picturesque Turtle Cove, Buck Island, and immerse yourself in an underwater wonderland where you're invited to swim and snorkel amidst a school of sea turtles for approximately 1 hour. Afterward, make your way to the second snorkel stop, Little St. James Island, where curious fish dart back and forth in the clear blue water, and colorful coral formations nestle next to amazing underwater formations. Afterward, enjoy a beverage and a snack before making your way back to St. Thomas Harbor. Additional information: snacks and beverages are included, snorkeling equipment and instructions are provided. Itinerary may vary based on the weather conditions. Guests will enter the water from the boat. Guests requiring glasses to see will not be able to wear glasses under the snorkeling mask. Approximately water depth of both snorkel sites is about 30 feet. Snorkel time is approximately 1 hour. Although most likely, sea turtles at Turtle Cove cannot be guaranteed. Guests are encouraged to bring sunscreen, sunglasses, additional clothing, hats, cameras, and backpacks. So we're just going to take you over there. Remember to bring your kids, and we're going to take you over to Little St. James Island, right? And there's actually, this is through MagicKingdoms.com, cruise ports, St. Thomas. Oh my God, now check this out, guys. I just noticed this. Look at this. St. Thomas X Cur HTML sex right here. Isn't that weird? This is from yesterday, the 25th. MagicalKingdoms.com, cruise ports to St. James Island. Patrick McMullen Archives from New York City, New York, October 31st. Ghislaine Maxwell attends Bette Midler's New York Restoration Project, NYRP, Halloween. The gala at Midler's 60th birthday celebration of Waldorf Astoria Hotel on October 31st, 2005. Oh my goodness. So, Ghislaine Maxwell is tied directly to Epstein, and you can hear Bette Midler if you want to go on Twitter and follow her. She'll be out there yapping at the gums, because those who are the loudest, those who scream the loudest, are the ones who are most guilty. There's also pictures of Bette Midler with Harvey Weinstein. So Don, our president, was on Hannity last night, and if you haven't watched that interview, it was very, very good. An Anon yesterday posted this, basically a breakdown of what was going on about the Mueller hearings. So we can see here, key POTUS remarks, direct quotes unless in brackets, H equals Hannity. All right, cool. So, Hannity asking about the Mueller hearing. I ended up watching more than I wanted to, the president said. I have to watch Shifty Schiff. I've never seen anything like it. I got to watch enough. It was shocking. I thought the Repubs were brilliant. I thought everyone representing the Repubs was really good. We will soon have the most modern military that we've ever had. A lot of it was just made up, like you'd write a novel, referencing the dossier. Hannity asked, you keep saying we can't let this happen again. Why important to get to the bottom of this? An absolute catastrophe for our country. This was treason, high crimes. Hannity says, what do you say to the press in this country? POTUS replies, I think the press has lost all credibility. These are supposed to be journalists, and they're actually trying to force them, in the Killbox Congress, to do what they want. When I say enemy of the people, which I've been saying since day one on this podcast, they are the biggest enemy. The press is the biggest enemy to the American people. It's because they are trying to influence Congress this way. Hannity replies, do you feel sorry for him during this? POTUS replies, I had the absolute right to fire him, but I didn't do it. It's really incredible when I hear this. First of all, they create a phony crime and then say he obstructed. There has never been anything like this ever before in this country. We'll find out about this. Media has been talking about investigating the investigators, Russian bloggers. They had nothing to do with this. They, the Mueller team, went after the people viciously and violently. General Flynn, Hope Hicks, so many. What they went through still to this day, these are very dishonest people. Hannity asked the question, on possible pardons? Don't want to comment, he says yet, paraphrasing, but I really feel good about it, about giving it rather. When people have been abused, we have to drain the swamp. We have some very bad people in government that would be willing to do very bad things. So, Hannity asked this question, Comey, McCabe, others, and the FISA warrants. Who do you think of these people? What do you think of these people, he asked. Comey is a liar and a leaker. Clapper and Brennan and McCabe, these are very bad people, not just incompetent. It will be great to clean up a real bad mess. William Barr, he's working so hard. He's got everything. And I gave them a total release and release it to whoever he wants. Perhaps people like Devin Nunes, much suffering, and so many others. They're warriors. Good side of the Republicans like Meadows, Nunes, Jordan, like yesterday. This was a coup attempt in my opinion. We have some very great people, but we also have some very bad people. Hannity asked a question on the 2020 Dems and the squad. Haven't seen it for the past 4 or 5 days. They're talking about Mueller. You're not seeing much about the Democrats. Hannity asked this question. Who will win the Democrat nomination? Is there one you want? Sleepy Joe, but he's fading. The only good thing about M is that it makes him, Joe, look like a dynamo. Pocahontas, Bernie Sanders. Hannity asked, Iran, North Korea have fired test missiles. What will you do if pushed militarily? Iran, they know we'd be tough. North Korea, we've been doing very well. President Obama had no relationship with HRC. We'd be at war. Hannity asked, on cops being pounded with water. Well, it's a bad mayor. Probably the worst mayor in the history of the city. I feel it was tragic watching that scene. I don't believe what I'm seeing. New York police are devastated. That was just a synopsis of what took place yesterday on Hannity. I believe Clapper, Brennan, and McCabe, Comey, these people will never see the light of day when it comes down to the end of it. Either they'll be suiciding themselves and or being locked away forever and ever, thus out of the picture, right? All right, guys, so from July 13th, I'm just going to read the headlines. Nearly 36 Disney World employees arrested in child sex investigation. In 2006, at least 35 Disney World workers have been arrested during various child sex investigations for crimes that have included attempting to meet with a minor for sex and possession of child pornography. So this is from ET News. That was from a couple weeks ago. Then we see from last month, former Walt Disney Vice President sentenced to prison in child sex abuse investigation. Unbelievable, guys. I believe I covered this about a month ago. And former Walt Disney Company executive Michael Laney has been sentenced to 81 months in prison for 4 counts of first-degree sexual abuse involving a 7-year-old girl. That's pedophilia. Why don't they just say pedophilia? Don't say a sex crime. Please pay attention. This is from 4 years ago. Good morning. I am writing this on my phone, so please have patience with any grammatical or formatting errors. The post got removed originally and I messaged the mods. They said they have no idea how it happened, but I've been finding small silhouettes of Mickey Mouse outside of my house. Here's the repost, and an update is in the works. To start off with, I now reside in a completely different state after leaving my job with Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando. I used to be what one other Redditor described as a suit in quotes. I am one of the guys that walks around the park in plain sight, yet hidden to the public. I am part of the elite group of black polo sporting undercover security officers that specialize in worse things than shoplifters and unruly park guests. You see, I stated prior to this post on the Reddit subpost No Sleep. If you are at Disney World and you are more than a few guys in one place wearing black polos, then you're most likely in danger and you should leave the area immediately. The sad part is we are so good at blending in with the woodwork that you wouldn't even notice us. Anyway, let me cut to the chase here. I have seen some pretty weird things at Disney World during my time. These anomalies that everyone speaks of. Well, they are true, but the least of our concerns. See, the thing is, when you take hundreds and thousands of people and cram them into a relatively small place, weird crap is going to happen. We have kids, even adults, getting lost in the park. Cryptozoological sightings, alien sightings, ghost sightings, and just general unexplainable things that happen all the time. I was a senior special security officer during the height of my time there, and got called for some pretty dark crap. Many of you think we, as in the security detail I was in, were covering up for Disney Corp. But in our true nature, we were damage control and were kept out of the loop on things and were trained not to question but to diffuse. There was a thing, though, that to this day still bothers me. A cast member called us on to the Nextel to report that a group of 4 children had gone missing on the land. A Nextel is a phone, right? Of course, I thought another one of those anomalies. For those of you who don't know the eerily calming nature ride called Living with the Land, it is located in the land of the Sea Pavilion over by Soarin'. The odd thing about this report is that we never have received one of these complaints before. And of course, we are issued cover-up stories to tell cast members or guests to calm them down. My colleague calmly came up with a story and explained that the kids were part of an educational program and they exited the boat with a guide and were escorted into the botany lab that exists on the ride. I told her not to ask any questions or talk about the incident as to not spread, in quote, false rumors, and had my colleague escort her to a nearby security office to have her sign some forms. My human nature took over and I got curious and entered the ride on the next boat alone. Living with the Land is boring and not particularly popular, so I can understand how the kids would be on the boat alone and also how I could get on the boat myself. I noticed absolutely nothing until I came to the part of the ride that has the prairie farmhouse. It looks like a faux house, but something about it just never sat right with me. As I have done hundreds of times before on this ride, I jumped off the boat and onto the scene where the house is. I noticed something funny though. There were no pressure mats, and the boat went away, allotting about a good 30 seconds before the next boat got to the scene. I have never seen a ride with no pressure mats to detect if anyone disembarks the ride. Oh my God. I just got chills. So quick recap. Kids disappear on the ride. I show up and feed the cast member who reported it to some story about how they disembarked mid-ride and are on tour of the lab and for her not to question it. A colleague of mine takes her away to debrief. I contacted the new cast member operating the ride and tell him to put some space between the next boat as I am looking for a lost wedding ring. It was bullcrap, I know, but so what? I slowly started to walk up to the faux house. Climbing the steps up to the porch, I noticed a small emblem on the left window. It's a small square and a compass symbol. Interesting that a Masonic symbol is hidden here. I figured whoever built the ride was a Freemason and brushed it off. I looked in the window of the house and it was nothing but curtains with a black plywood behind them. I thought there was nothing to see here, but still something inside decided that it wasn't good enough. The front door glided open to a bright room with a black and white checkerboard floor. There was a marble altar like a table on the opposite end of the room with some kind of weird throne-like chair built into the front of it and a gold cup on the tabletop. The only other thing that was noticeable was a heavy wooden door on the other end of the room that was locked. There were no windows or anything else. I thought it was weird because I was always under the impression that this house was fake. Human nature took over again, and against my better judgment, I tried the door in the room, but I was relieved that it was locked. I tried my keys, but none of them worked. Here's the thing. At Disney, we use a lock system called BEST. This had interchangeable cores that have assigned numbers and or letters. This is so we can issue keys only to certain areas. I have the General Master Key, which essentially is the real key to the kingdom. Interesting thing about this lock was that my master did not open it. I looked closer and it was a BEST lock, but the inscription said CC on it, which I've never seen before. Since the door wasn't open, I decided to just leave. On my way out, I noticed the floor there was a fast pass printed out for Soarin'. I picked it up and pocketed it. It's amazing how trash works this way into odd places. I'm going to figure out where these kids went. I rode the boat back out to the platform and went back to the Epcot security office to play back some footage from the DVR. It took me a while, but I zeroed in on the period where the kids entered the land in the Sea Pavilion, and I followed them. There were 4 kids total, 3 girls and 1 boy. The girls' actions were almost robotic, and it sent chills up my spine. They walked in a straight line through the pavilion, but what scared me was there was a man with them escorting them through the place. I paused and looked closer, and I realized the man was wearing a black polo and khakis, the same thing I was wearing. Holy crap, I even recognized him. It was one of my colleagues. Alan is the guy that was at the scene before I got there. The same guy who fed the cast member at the control podium the bullcrap about the kids going on tour. I thought maybe he did actually send them on the tour of the botanic lab and lost track of them until I hit play on the film. The boy was not walking in line, and I could tell he was giving Alan problems. He keeps venturing away and getting distracted at various things in the pavilion. The benefit of the doubt I gave Alan subsided when I saw the kid go press the button for the Fast Pass on Soarin' and take the paper Fast Pass almost like a prize. Alan then tugged him away and stood back and observed as the kids walked into the living with the land. I saw them get on the boat. I saw them through the storm scene, through the rainforest scene, and then through the desert scene. After the desert, I lost the boat on camera. The ride stopped momentarily. You could see it on the other scenes, and once it resumes, I saw the boat again in the scene with the pictures of the farmers. The boat was empty. I also saw freaking Alan looking down off the observation deck, which explains how he responded so quickly. I switched the cameras back to live view and left that area. I haven't been exactly honest with you thus far. I know a lot of things of what Disney does, and things that we respond to that regular security officer wouldn't deal with. I have seen them experiment so many things such as eugenics, pharmaceutical engineering, even experimenting with gas. Have you ever noticed that on both Spaceship Earth and the monorail that you get a strange calm feeling on those rides? Well, they are pumping low doses of laughing gas in those areas. Ever heard of Room Zero? They were wearing gas masks for a reason. Ever hear of gas cots? Well, that's not important right now. I would encourage you to research it. So guys out there, research gas cots. I never thought what we did was okay by containing these dark secrets, but paid well. I have seen them quickly inject some experimental drug on a guest and throw them back out there. Our job was to monitor and contain them. If things went haywire, I know that I am the bad guy, but this wasn't normal. This wasn't procedural. First thing I did was go over to the room where we keep the keys. I looked through the logbooks for the core labeled CC. I found it, but it had no zone or specific location issued to the core, and the number of copies was marked as 1. This key was in our system, but my master key didn't open it. I grabbed the core key and a few Zone 1 cores. The core key is a specific key that when inserted into the lock will remove the core so it can be replaced with another. I put this in my pocket and make a beeline for the Land and Sea Pavilion. I may be paranoid, but I swear I saw Alan following me in the shadows. I got to the ride and got to the house and back in the front door to the Masonic room. I locked the door as I entered. I inserted the core key into the lock on the wooden door, removed the core, and inserted the Zone 1 core into the lock. Now my master key will open the door, and boy did it. The door glided open. It was heavy and steel on the other side of the wood face. That's so weird. There was a velvet red carpeted staircase leading down to some kind of utilidor. But we are in Epcot. What the hell? There is one small utilidor in Epcot, but it doesn't go this deep. I descended the stairs and walked down the red carpeted hallway to these double doors. Behind the double doors was my answer and the truth as to what happened to these kids. Through these doors was the darkest side of Disney, a side of Disney that I even couldn't believe. Would Walt be in favor of this, or is this one of Eisner's little idea of making more money off his guests? Behind the doors was an empty, dim-lit room with a small circular platform in the center. The carpet was the same lush red velvet carpet from the hallway. There were 6 leather armchairs around the circular platform, all with telephones, and a card readers on the table next to the chair. Inside, I knew what was going on. I knew what was happening here. This was one thing I will not cover up for the Disney Corporation. I stood there in disbelief and horror and noticed a small doors towards the back of the room. I went over and popped out the CC, the core, put it in my pocket, and put in a Zone 1 core. I heard someone clear their throat from the door of the room. It was Alan. He had an annoyed look on his face and held a gun trained at me. I slowly propped the door open and the latch and turned to face him. "You never should have come here," he said to me when he was stepping towards me. "So this is what you and your scumbag friends resorted to? We did some pretty effed up crap, Alan. But this is a new low for you and your disgusting friends." I had my hand at my side and blocked the view of me slipping the Zone 1 core out of my hand and into my pocket. "It's not going to matter because no one is going to find out." He raised the gun, and like something out of an action movie, I ripped the door open as he pulled the trigger. As a bullet hit the door, I jumped backwards through the doorway and shut it behind me. That, you know what, was stuck because I had both cores in my pocket, so there was no way he could open the door. He started shooting the door and I moved forward. I walked down a hallway with these small cell-like rooms lining the hall, and inside were those play school chairs and a few toys. So it sounds like he locked the guy out. So the gentleman that's telling the story is still down in this corridor, and he's on the other side of the door. Can't get in because he doesn't have the key cards. I get that. So again, I walked down a hallway with these small cell-like rooms lining the hall, and inside were those play school chairs and a few toys. I checked every one of them and they were all empty. I got to the end of the hall and there was this huge metal vault-like door. I popped the last Zone 1 core key into the door to replace the CC core and pulled the steel door open to be hit in the face with sunlight. I was outside of some side utility road off the premises of Epcot. The road led away. I was too late. They were already gone for good. I called the police, but they never came. I called the FBI, but they never took me seriously. Hell, I even called the CIA, but they said they didn't deal with domestic issues like that and referred me back to the FBI. I showed up at the Orange County Police Department headquarters, and they took a report, but I heard something fall in the trash when I was leaving. Disney is good at what they do. They are good at keeping secrets, and they are good at controlling any outside force that attempts to bring their secrets to light. I am lucky I saw the sunlight again. I am lucky to have the same time to leave the state before they got to me. If you go there, please keep your kids close. Watch out for the guys in the black polos. They may be monitoring you. They may be responding to something that will put you in danger. As far as I know, there aren't the ones that pick out the merchandise. I don't even know who does that. Picture of that house I found on the web. I did not take these pictures. All right, so this is the photo of the house he's talking about. So if you go into the Land on the Sea, I believe is what it was called. This is the house that the gentleman went in. It looks like it goes, directly into like a wall. Very, very strange, guys. All right, guys, so the name of that place is Living with the Land. This is the ride. See if you see that house. If you ever go there, keep your kids close. Maybe not go there with your kids. How about that? And do some investigating. I think that would be wise. So, guys, how crazy was that? Amazing subreddit. I believe this guy, you know. Like I said, if you want to do an investigation into this alone, maybe with a friend, don't bring your kids. Just go check out and see if that house is there with the living with the land ride. Check that place out, guys. Disney's screwed. Let's just be honest. This place is going to go under. The more and more information that comes out about this, it's going to have to be pushed into the public eye through mainstream media. I believe that if this is the end for Disney, when all this Epstein stuff comes out with the ties to it, we're talking, you know, back doors, small doors going to the back end of, to the outside of Epcot. Doesn't that remind you of the small doors we talked about at the very beginning of this podcast, that the drone footage showed, these small doors that lead to the outside, right? This is where they take kids. They take kids through the corridors. The circular table, it reminds me of a bathhouse. You know, the risen circular table. It has a key card, so you put in your card, you pay money, I'm sure, and there's cells there. Unbelievable. And then when they're through, the kids there, they take them out, and they're never seen again, right? I bet there's missing. I would love to see the missing persons count coming from Walt Disney. Guys, if you found this informative, please subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on Twitter at TRUreporting. Don't forget to leave a like. Please share this video, as I find that this subreddit was astonishing, pretty mind-blowing to say the least. You can donate to this channel by going to my PayPal or Patreon, and we also have a PO box and TRUreporting merch. If you want any of that, all the links are in the description box below. And guys, be safe out there, be kind and loving, and I will talk to you all very soon. Have a wonderful day and a great weekend. Bye-bye.